Essendon are out at the Lloyd end. The Saints getting ready to run through their banner at the Fletcher end. We're about 13 minutes till this game gets underway. A little bit more news first, Damo. Sunday teams, you've got them in front of you.
Yeah, we just like to sign off on the completed teams. Howie, North has got Sean Higgins back into that team, so just a 1 week absence for him with the knee surgery. Robat's the player who makes way for him. They're playing the Bulldogs. Gowers is back. Rourke Smith is being rested. Big game, Melbourne and Sydney Swans. Pedersen and Hunt are the ins. Vince isn't out here, Howie, without anything beside his name, so I can only assume that's an omission. Smith is out with a shoulder. I'll just check that as we speak, though.
There's some concerns about Max Gawn as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, he's named and selected, and he assured us last night on the footy show that he's in. Hanbury's officially back in for the Swans in that game against Melbourne. Robinson the out, and having a look at what Carlton's done. Cruz is back, Herridge is back, and Silvani's back in. Graham omitted, Kennedy and O'Shea also out in the team.
Nice work by you, Damo. We were down to our last $17 after our initial combined $2,000 investment, Nate.
We were down.
We go back to where it all turned around, and that was a little wager that we had on the Danish darts.
It was.
That was your pick, Darts.
It was my pick, Damo, and I think since then she's been all positive.
We went into esports. That was a positive move.
Went to the esports thanks to the big nose producer. And then the last 2 weeks we went with Mantastic. And then last week again at Flemington we went with Nantali, which won easily. Tomorrow at Flemington we're going to be going with...
Hang on.
Prezado in race 2.
But have we got enough money for our end of season dinner now?
Right now we have around $1,500 in our account, and
that'd be enough for a decent dinner with all the partners.
It's always a lot better if we win tomorrow.
So you think
we turn it into an end of season trip?
I've never seen anybody get on the text as quick last week after Nantali won saying we need to take the money out now. We need to take the money out now. This is the tightest man in the box, Mark Howard. Do you not know anything about punting, Howie? When you get on a roll, you keep going, like we're going to do. Prezado tomorrow. Do you want to drink Vaso Felix or do you want to drink Grange?
Well, Dash, you booked us into
Lamaro's in South Melbourne,
which is fantastic. My only
little
concern,
private room there
with Nath with his fingers in the jar, we could end up at the local Euros shop.
The what?
The local Euros shop.
Sivlaki shop.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Those who don't speak Greek.
Well, no, I don't speak Greek. It's funny enough. And last name's Brown, and my mum's maiden name was Smith, so we're very much from Bendigo. Now, Howie, 1,500 tomorrow is going to go on Prezado, and then we're going to have a very good dinner.
You can have all the euros you want, mate.
We won't be putting the whole amount.
Okay, let's go around the box and see what everyone's going to do. What do you want to do, Judge?
Load up.
All in for me.
Yep. Just 100. Just gamble responsibly. Gamble responsibly.
The 264 kilo lightweights in the box.
No, we're all in. There's only one way to do it. All in.
Full faith in you, Nate. It's going to be a big celebration, Howie.
Prezado tomorrow. Race 2, number 6, Howie.
Gee, the girls are going to be really enthused about going to the local kebab shop in 3 weeks' time. All right, let's get into the preview of this one. Juddy, 3 things the Bombers must do to win tonight's game.
They must use their leg speed, Howard. They've got a very quick team, Essendon, at the minute. I see McKenna, Sard, Fantasia, McDonald, Timmon, Woody, Smith. I could go on, Duke, but I shouldn't have to. They've got an enormous leg speed. They need to use that to their advantage tonight. The other thing they need to do is they need to apply an enormous amount of tackle pressure on St Kilda. We know that when St Kilda get pressure like most teams, they can cough the ball over, and Essendon in the second half of this season have done that better than most teams, so tackle pressure is big. The other thing they need to do is get their hands on the footy around the stoppages. It's an area of the game there's still some growth left. We heard Dustin Fletcher before the game mention they'd love to see Dylan Shields in this team. I think it's the one area they've still got plenty of improvement left, is winning those clearances.
All right, Judge, nicely done by you. I think you need to keep an eye on Ben Pattendas. Looks like we've got a debutant, and he's a big man as well, coming into the side for the Saints, so we'll get a bit of an update on him shortly. But firstly, Brownie, 3 things the Saints must do to win the game tonight.
Well, to counteract one of Judge's points, the Bombers are very quick, so St Kilda need to be able to lock that down quick enough. They haven't been able to this year stop sides with their defensive press. I think they're one of the poorest sides at the defensive press, but in recent times they've been okay. So they started the game really well against the Dogs. That's what they've got to do tonight. They need to start the game extraordinarily well. Get on top of the Bombers, because the Bombers will know if they get behind tonight, all of a sudden, is their season over? I mean, it's teetering on the edge of over at the moment. But if they get a 3 or 4 goal lead, all of a sudden the Bombers go, is this the end? Maybe they drop their bundle. And their skill level, if the Saints can use the ball through the middle of the ground, which they haven't been able to do for most of the year, that's the key to their game. Their skill level is at an AFL standard at the moment, and they need to get it there.
Nicely done, Nate. All right, Das, tonight the heat is on.
The heat is on if you listen to Damien Barrett, and I do, when there's a lot swirling around the St Kilda Football Club with positions on the board, with lots of change happening, and you're Alan Richardson. He might have 2 years on his contract, but you want to perform well when reviews are happening. You want to perform well all the time, but he just doesn't want to leave the door open. They don't want to get belted tonight, St Kilda. Got to finish strongly. He's got to show signs this group can play and are improving. So I think he's going to feel the heat tonight.
Nicely done. All right, always my favourite part of the show where Damo works it up during the week and provides us a headline.
Just before you get there, I've just had confirmation that we are on Prezado tomorrow, and
All in?
We are all in now.
Okay, what are the odds generally for Prezado?
Snorkel?
Gamble responsibly.
$2.30. Gamble responsibly, $2.30. All right, we'll update you next week on how we went on that one. Damo, the headline for tomorrow's paper, I think by the look on your face you got something a little bit clever tonight.
You love it, Howie. Mathematically possible is the phrase that's attached to Essendon as they go into the last 3 games, Howie. So they will be mathematically possibly alive for the finals after tonight. Dyson Apple, really good captain, and has stood up since round 8 of the season when they turned it around along with Declan Smith. But Dyson Apple's been crucial to it. Been a very good captain, Howie. Very simple tabloid headline tomorrow for the tabloid writers. Hep, hep, hooray.
That's his best. Come on, that's actually all right.
You're going to play that up?
Well,
That's
it made us chuckle.
This is hurting us all.
Wow.
Just say it one more time with feeling.
No, we did it once.
Just for those that missed it, Damo.
No, we did it once.
Come on.
Hep, hep, hooray.
There you go.
Sounds like something you two have concocted up together.
He might have
Real
suggested.
wank
Got
rock.
Howie fingerprints on it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it was very good.
Thanks for laughing, though, Howie.
It was very good. Hey, just before we get fully into this game, tomorrow, massive game, as it always is, when Hawthorn plays Geelong. It's the traditional Saturday afternoon game at the MCG. Doesn't get any bigger. What are your thoughts, Judge?
Huge game. They're both going really well. Hawks for mine. Geelong, very unlucky not to be in the 8, but I think the Hawks are going better than people realise.
They are going, I agree with Judge, they're going a lot better than what people realise at the moment. Gunston playing great footy. Luke Bruce is the best small forward in the competition right now. Their midfield is flying. O'Meara playing really well. I think the Hawks will win.
A nice little image. I'm looking at the Triple M Chemist Warehouse replay screen. Jack Billings inside the St Kilda rooms. His housemate Ben Patton is making his debut today, and Jack's giving an extended sort of speech presenting his jumper to him. And young Ben Patton might be rocking the top knot. Is he on debut?
It appears so.
It's almost a monologue from Jack Billings.
It's a big spread. It's a long
spread.
spread.
He's still going.
He's still going.
The other players have all run out on the field. Jack's still down there.
Tips for the game. Nate got it last week, so I'm on 6, Darcy on 5, Damo 3, Brownie 3, and the Brownlow medalist has failed to get a tip yet. So as the man that hasn't got a tip, we're going to give you an open deck to choose from. Judge, you can go first tonight.
I'll go Essendon by 62.
Ooh. Noodles.
That is a big margin. I'm going to go Essendon by 33.
Das.
Essendon by 28.
Damo.
Essendon by 69.
I'll go Essendon by 34. So no one on the Saints tonight. I don't know what type of crowd we get in here. The Chew Man's probably not too far away from wandering in, but let's go down for the first time tonight onto the boundary, Bob Jane T-Mart style. Jay-Z Clark, it's been a revolving door with the boundary riders, which is something we probably need to explore at some stage before the season ends up. But Jay-Z, you're down there and possession is 9/10 of the law, and the Doc's with you.
Yes, good evening, Howie. I'm going to have a crack at the crowd and say maybe 24,000 tonight, mainly Essendon fans, of course. Now, look, Damo, obviously a legend at the Herald Sun, certainly a Hall of Fame member. I did plug a quick call into the Herald Sun editors. I floated the Hep Hep Hooray headline, and they've already put a line through it, Damo, so that one sucks, mate. But well done for trying anyway. Hey, as you said, you mentioned earlier, careers on the line tonight. It is certainly a big game for St Kilda. No finals for them this year, but Simon Lethlean, new football manager, making some big changes at the end of the year. Ben Patton on debut, as you mentioned, and Lewis Pearce, 202-centimetre ruckman, playing his second game for the Bombers. I think it's going to be an interesting night for Brennan Goddard, and hopefully a strong finish to the season for him. He's without a contract for next year. Certainly an intriguing situation. BJ keen to play on next year. But all in readiness down here, boys. The final interchanges before I let you go for the Bombers. It's Kyle Kyle Langford, Aaron Francis, Mark Bagley and the skipper Dyson Heppel starting on the pine end for the Saints. Blake Acres, Nathan Freeman, David Armitage and Ben Patton, as we said, on debut. Howie?
I'd like to take the heat is on back again, and I would say the heat is on little Jay-Z Clark down there tonight, because we had a debutant Triple M footy last week.
yes.
My man Tommy Brown. And the reviews in
Very
are
keen.
outstanding.
Rating spike.
He's hosting of half-time, big tick. So puts a fair bit of pressure back onto Jay-Z
And
Clark
from what I
tonight.
can gather, his own self-analysis was a pretty big tick as
Through
well.
the roof. Tommy was
Although-
incredibly happy with his own form.
There was one part of the halftime break where he threw to Ash Chua, and Ash wasn't even listening to him. He goes, "Oh, you're talking to me, Tom, eh?"
Yeah,
Another time I did throw down to him, he said,
Not now.
Not now.
Yes.
all right, Juddy and Noodles, final thoughts on this one as we welcome the Chew-Man. Hello to you, Chewy.
Yes, good evening, Howie. Great to be here.
Great to have you here.
I just think there's a big concern over St Kilda assistant coaches knowing they're not going to be there next year. What does that do to the energy of this group? Really important that St Kilda get in this contest early. They don't necessarily need to be leading at quarter time, but they need to be in the game, have had their hands on the footy and be within striking distance.
Hey, Juddy, you're big on that. You reckon that generally makes a difference? Assistant coaches have been told they're not required. You reckon that really flattens the group out, does it?
Yeah, I think it does. Look, they'll bring a certain energy to the club each day, and the players soak that up. They pick up on it, even if it's subconscious. And those guys will have really close relationship with the players as well. So there's no doubt in my mind that that'll be a challenge that the Saints will face in this back end of the season.
And do the players then take on board what they're saying for the last
That's right.
3 weeks as fever pitches what they would? I think the Bombers win this. I think the Saints have been very good over the last couple of weeks. They were 28 points up on the Dogs early doors last week and then gave it up, which was pretty disappointing. But looking forward to seeing Rowan Marshall. I think he's a very good young player.
I've just had a look at our little account. If Prezado in race 2 doesn't win tomorrow, it'll be more disappointment in this box, just quietly.
Oh,
Well,
well,
what
let's
about
just
if
have to put our hands in our pockets for once.
What about if it does win?
Well, if it does win,
Yeah.
you're right. Chewy, one quick stat, Triple M Bosch Tool stat style.
Yeah, just look out for Zach Merritt, Howie, averaging 37 disposals, past 2 against the Saints.
Thank you, Chew Man. Let's get this one underway. Friday night footy, round 21. The Bombers and the Saints are at Etihad Stadium. Perfect bounce. And it was one down by Bell Chambers, who slid in, tried to collect his own footy. Coming through was Big Lewis Pearce, 203 centimetre, 105 kilo ruckman. McGrath wins it though, inside 50. Juddy, that was just
was
a
slick.
magnificent pass.
It was just going full speed, just hooked it across his body out in front of Orazio Fantasia, and to be able to run that quickly and to have that sort of vision and then to execute, it's why he's an incredibly exciting player for the future.
Looked down at the bounce and I saw Nate Brown picking up Fantasia out of the goal scorer. I thought that's a bad matchup for the Saints if that's going to be the case.
Orazio has ball in hand. The kick from Andrew McGrath, as described by Juddy, was just scintillating. The perfect start for Orazio. Directly in front. He loved it off the boot. Straight through the middle. 49 seconds into this game, and the Bombers, by Orazio Fantasia, get the first Triple M Simply Energy scoreboard.
Could be the quickest player in the AFL right now, Fantasia, and they're playing on Brown, who's a very good down defender, but he's not quick. He's not quick off the mark. He's usually playing on bigger body players, and that's going to be a dangerous matchup. To go with the best sprinter in the game, I reckon he's just about the best set shot in the game right now. He's got a fluent, nice, easy action, and you can almost back him in 9 3/4 times out of 10, Howie.
Lewis Pearce in the middle in just his second game, Noodles, 203 centimetres, 104 kilos.
Generally what Ruckman come at.
Yeah, he's a big one, a 23-year-old from McDonald's. Triple M rocks footy. So Fantasia getting the Bombers off to the perfect start. He's up against Bell Chambers, who tries to gather his own tap. Now Myers just bangs the ball on the left, but Carlisle, good defender. And you hear the boos. He used to play for the Bombers. Not his best kick. It's opened the door now for Essendon. It's fallen, and the snap is going to go into the small post on the full. So it is out on the full, but gee whiz, Fantasia had an opportunity to kick his second in the first minute and a half.
As quick as he is and as good a goal kicker as he is, he's not the best at giving them off, though, Juddy, when people are in a better position.
Yeah, tipping Woody over the top there, didn't he? But doesn't like to use his hands.
Shake Carlisle's kick, wow, just missed a 10-metre pass badly. Probably should have been punished more for it. Kick from Geary down the line, boundary thrown, 60 around from the Bombers' goal. They've got the first score of the game. It's a major. They lead it by 6 points. Bell Chambers and Big Lewis Pearce re-engage their battle. Seb Ross, a lot of numbers around it, and there is the umpire's whistle, so it'll be thrown up again at 55 metres out.
You can't win a game in the first 15 minutes, but you can lose it, Duke, and that's what St Kilda have to be careful of here.
Smith, his kick inside 50 is smothered. Parrish down to Merritt, who was fantastic against the Hawks last week. The second possession of McGrath. What about that? Jimmy Webster throws himself at the footy, and his teammate Brown pay the mark if he gets up. Gee, that was a big hit.
It was Jonathan Brown-like, wasn't it? Circa early 2000s against Hawthorn, just charged back head first, back with the flight of the
You'd be pumped with that if you're the players around him and your coaching staff.
Yeah, Nick Revolt-esque as well, Juddy. That same sort of crazy courage back with the flight. Well done to Jimmy Webster. That sets a real tone for your teammates, I reckon, in a game that is a dead rubber, end of the year, commit your body like that.
Spot on, Duke.
It's great stuff. Boundary throwing.
And you don't expect that from Jimmy Webster to go back as hard as what he... That was extraordinary.
Yeah.
Ben Long's earned himself a free kick right between the interchange race. Medallion club wing side sends it to half forward. Membry got rid of his man easily. Good player too that he's on in Hurley. Good contested mark. Goes short. Kick to Stephen. Missed the target badly. Darcy Parish back there. He's been injured. Spent a little bit of time in the VFL as well. McGrath. McDonald, Tipper, Woody. Here's Webster. Picked up Jimmy. Tackled immediately. Essendon fans, you heard holding the ball. Umpire said play on. In attack it is at the moment for the Saints. McDonald, Tipper, Woody goes in again, and eventually umpire says give it to me.
Talking about their starts, Juddy, we've seen them a couple of times this year against Sydney and also against Richmond, where they were 9 goals down in the blink of an eye in the first quarter.
Pearce in the ruck again. Jack Stephen can't get a clear possession. There's McGrath looking for a free kick, holding the man. Umpire said play on to Merritt. Another touch for him. Keep an eye on him. He's in unbelievable form. Goddard with a low hand pass. Now the Bombers through McKenna by hand. Back to Merritt. McKenna takes him on. This is positive play from the Bombers through the middle of Etihad.
Zach Merritt's kick. A little awkward initially. Mitch Brown picked it up. Good tackle applied on him. Webster, as he committed his body to this game early. Outstanding stuff. Seb Ross, little short one on, and Lewis Pearce. Second game. Huge man. Just flicks a little handball out to Jack Steele, who's been in pretty good form, Mark. Dropped back there by the Irishman at half-back McKenna. Hooker's underground handball okay to Goddard. To Sard. Now the Bombers under a little bit of heat. They've sold themselves into at half-back. Zaharakas. Good pressure here from the Saints. Myers, succession of handballs. Eventually Goddard puts boot to ball. Bagley fisted away from him. Well done by Akers. Saints have started okay in this game. Akers picked it up. Bagley got him and he's gone. Good tackle, Bagley.
He was completely out of position there, Bagley. He just lunged and dived and managed to hold on and grab the arm, so the St Kilda player couldn't possibly get rid of that. Brilliant tackle.
He looked more uncertain there, Blake Acres, than when you gave him the name the game questions a couple of weeks ago, Nate. I think he was a 0 from 6 man, wasn't he?
Yeah, he wasn't sharp.
The ball goes to the outer wing. Zach Merritt takes on 2 and beats them. He's had a great start to the game. Zaharakis, little right foot, a bit too much on it for Stringer. Here's the speedy Collier. He gets out the back. He's dangerous. Hooking kick to the top of the goals. Bagley put a hand in the back, I reckon. He took the mark. Umpire agrees, and the Saints will get the free kick at full back.
Chemist Warehouse replay screen. Blake Acres, genuine hand in the back. Webster working it out from half back, and that is the boos of the Essendon fans. They're going to give it to Jake Carlisle tonight.
This is where Essendon have improved a lot, Duke. I thought last year they really struggled to defend the ball. They were easy to counter-attack against, but they're much better at this year.
Aggressive kick from Armitage through the middle of the ground. It might work out okay. They get it back to Akers now. They're out through Billings. Hands it off to his teammate Loney. Kick inside forward 50. Bouncing in front of the little man who picks it up, Gresham. He'll kick it from there, Gresham. He's a quality player. Good goal. Reward for effort for the Saints. They kick their first of the night, and we're back to 1-6 apiece. That's 1 goal straight. Big injury. Let's get straight down to Jay-Z in the dock.
Essendon's Brendan Goddard already coming off the ground with the help of 2 trainers. Doc, was it an ankle or a twist to the knee? I'm not quite sure.
Well, certainly he landed awkwardly in that marking contest and stayed down for a long time. At this point, I think it is an ankle, but he seems to be freeing up. He's with Doc Reed as we speak. He'll probably go down to the rooms, I think.
And it's Bob Jane T-Marts, the tyre and wheel specialist. So not good news for Brendan Goddard, but a nice finish. If you have a look on the Triple M Chemist Warehouse replay screen, and he just extended down with the right leg and took all the impact through his knee and his right ankle, Nate.
It looked like it rolled laterally, didn't it? He'll be back. He'll get a jab and he'll be back out.
To Triple M Seabus Super special comments. Seabus Super with insurances to protect building and construction workers. There's a free kick in the middle, holding the ball, going the way of the Saints. Umpire calls play on. They do that now through Ross. Long left foot ball. It's high. It's deep. Long. Made good position. Couldn't take the mark in the end. And the Bombers, through Hooker, run it through for a behind. St Kilda are 1-1. Essendon 1 straight on the Triple M Simple Energy scoreboard. Simple Energy powering up the AFL. You've just seen it again on the Triple M Chemist Warehouse replay, Dars, the Real House of Fragrances. What do you see?
Yeah, I think Brandon called it accurately. It's that outside ankle roll, lateral roll. Hurts initially, but they're the sort of ones that you can generally strap up, get a bit of pain relief and back out there. It's Dyson Hempel from half-back for the Bombers. Collier's taken the mark on his chest. Wants to get it moving to Langford. Jake Stringer, the overlap run over the top. They've worked it well to Bagley. Runs through 50. No pressure on him. Fantasia wanted it short. Bagley decides to go for home and misses just through for a minor score. Probably could have done slightly better in the end. 1-1-7 apiece it is here. Triple M Simply Energy scoreboard. 8.5 gone first term.
They've turned it around, the Saints, from that first few minutes, and I reckon you can just about trace it back to that Jimmy Webster contest.
Absolutely. Membry out of position on the half-back flank. City side takes a strong mark in front of Francis. He wants to go inboard, and he does. And he finds the leading Jack Billings. He's got it in the back pocket. What type of crowd do these two normally generate, Chew?
Yeah, past 5, average 34,000. I reckon we've got about that figure tonight, Howie.
Nicely cut off by Francis.
32,897 in the house as we speak.
Jeez.
So spot on as always. Chew. Heppel goes inside 50. Stringer is forced away from the marking contest, and the ball's out of bounds 10 metres around from the Bombers' goal. They lead it. In fact, it's all square at 1-1-7 apiece on the Triple M Simple Energy scoreboard. Simply Energy powering up the AFL.
Boundary throw. I think Jay-Z Clark might have tipped 24,000, which really disappointing start for him.
Yeah, Tom Brown breathing down his neck.
Bombers deep in attack. Webster's been enormous. Kicks a big barrel out of defence. Free kick's been paid, and it's going the way of the Bombers. Cale Hooker, who has taken the second most marks in the game this year. Cale Hooker back in defence. Zach Merritt wheels onto his natural left foot. Long bomb. Big pack of Saints back there in defence. Armitage. The big man, Ruckman Pearce, involved. Billings going to clear defensive 50. Rowan Marshall, another big man out there for the Saints. Got a lot of big units out there around here tonight. Couple of big, genuine Ruckman. Jake Carlisle's a big rooster as well, tall side.
Well, they've been known for how many short, smaller, nifty guys they've had for a long time. It's good to see that Rowan Marshall out there. He's going to be a good player.
It's Nathan Brown, Chris Judd on the Triple M Cbus Super Special comments. Heppel out of the ruck contest. Drops it inside 50, but filling back in the hole. Really well done. Not the best kick, though. Daniel McKenzie gets away with it with the short one. And the Saints have got it at centre-half back, 7 apiece.
Jack Billings. Classy looking kick when he's in good form. He uses the ball particularly well. That man gets it to Jack Loney at half back. So we're all locked away here. 10.5 gone in the first term. Saints now attacking through the corridor. Jack Sinclair. That is not a good ball. Right off the side of the boot. Turned over immediately. Zaharakis hands it off to Devon Smith. McGrath back to Devon Smith. Good build up here for the Bombers. Kick though wasn't great. In fact, it was really poor. And McKenzie in the right spot at the right time in defence.
Did well. Now Sinclair, the Saints, off half back. Oh, McKenzie's kicked it straight into McGrath's bottom, and it rebounds back inside 50 with a clever kick from Devon Smith. And Mitch Brown, who's had a good season, running back with the flight, takes a strong mark in front of Carlisle.
It's been their issue all year. We've seen a lot of the Saints games this year, and unfortunately, half their side aren't at AFL kicking level. There's so many guys that butcher the footy, and it just makes it so hard for all the other players up the field, because then you're out of position like all their defenders were there when you butcher it in the middle.
Brown, 9-4 from set shots this season from 50. We saw last week he's got a good leg on him, but it's through for one behind. So Essendon lead by that solitary point on the Triple M Simply Energy scoreboard. Jay-Z in the dock, any sign of BJ Goddard?
Yeah, BJ just sat back on the bench. Then Howie, the doctors are closely looking at the vision, so no real clear sign at the moment whether he's going to go back on yet. Stand by.
Thanks, Jay-Z, for Bob Jane teammates. Down there, the Saints just chipping it around in their defensive 50 zone at the moment, in the hands of their skipper, Geary. Pops a little one out wide, under pressure, Nunes. Well done, Francis.
Brilliant defence by Francis there. That lead-up play for the Saints looked like he was going to take the mark easily, but for Francis to not give up on the lead, really impressive way to get a stoppage.
It's just interesting, isn't it, watching the Chemist Warehouse replay. How are you and I looking at Brendan Goddard sitting there with the medical team, video on, and they're watching what happened to Brendan Goddard.
Heppel grabs it out of the pack, snaps round the corner, and the skipper Hep, hep, hooray, according to Damo. Nails the Bombers second. They're 2-2-14. St Kilda 1-1-7 on the Triple M Simply Energy scoreboard. Bob Jane T-Marts, Doc?
Yeah, just talking to the Doc now, you think he might have copped a head knock in that situation, BJ?
Yeah, certainly his ankle's not a problem. He's moving freely, and as the boys said, he's probably been restrapped. That's not the issue. They're looking closely at the vision, and in that marking contest, I'm just wondering if he got a head knock. He's looking pretty nonplussed at the moment, BJ, and not too sure what's going on. A lot of consternation down here at the moment.
Quite bizarre to watch the player himself looking at his own injury on the replay, Das. Good finish by Heppel.
Great finish, wasn't there? There was just too much space in that boundary throw in the dangerous corridor side of the stoppage, and Heppel was good enough to capitalise on it.
Well done, young big man. Lewis Pearce won the clearance and the hit out. Kicked it inside 50, but back there, Conor McKenna, the Irishman, they have been really aggressive through the middle of the ground. This one is now with Devon Smith. Laid more tackles in the game than anyone else in the competition. Dev Smith, that kick, though, has been marked by Nathan Freeman. What a great story. That young man played his first game in 5 years, first ever game in the AFL. This is his second tonight. Again, Pearce in good hands now with Stephen. Armitage. Stephen again. Can he get past Fantasia? Almost threw it out. Got it to Jack Steele. They've got to get boot to ball. That's what they do via Nath Brown. High, awkward, up and under. Long competed pretty well, but again, McKenna, the Irishman's been rock solid back there. Finds it out to Heppel at halfback.
Jay-Z in the dock, Bob Jane T-Marts.
One of the doctors just passed on a message up to the coach's box saying that BJ won't be going back on. I think he's done for the night. In fact, he's taking his strapping off now. The night's over for Brendan Goddard.
Gee, that is a big story. So we think it's a concussion issue, guys?
Could be the only thing. I mean, they were checking the vision to see whether he maybe got a head knock. He's walking fine, Howie. I think his ankle and knee is okay. It must be a head-related issue.
All right. Keep an eye on Dyson Heppel as well. He just didn't look like he was crossing the ground with a groin issue last Saturday against the Hawks. So see how he runs out the game. And Michael Hurley's got it on the wing, but that's a big blow. The boys are spot on. Brendan Goddard, he's out of the game. Now Stringer marks it. Medallion Club side, 70 from home. Goes a little chipping ball, a little bit too much on it. And Armitage has got a few issues. Oh, he's tripped. Be a free kick for David Armitage at centre-half back. Bagley with the infringement.
Almost should be 50 that, I reckon. The ankle tap, he was away. So are the Saints now, through the middle of the ground. Taking a bounce is Blake Acres, runs to 60. Got a one-on-one down there, along the target, chipping in from the side. And taking a good mark, Jack Loney directly in front, about 12 metres out. Good play, Saints.
He's a good player when he gets the ball on the run, Blake Acres. He's a beautiful kick of the footy, and he's just got some nice angles to his game. He held the footy well. He could have kicked it from 60 metres out and blazed away, but he had the extra bounce, allowed the players to double back inside 50 towards the goal. It was a nice bit of poise.
Had career high numbers in each of the last 2 weeks, this man. Jack Loney, 21 disposals and 2 goals in both games. Howie.
Good work.
And this will be a good start for the Saints. Directly in front, Jack Loney jams it home. Saints go to 2-1-13. The Bombers are 2-2-14. 8 minutes remaining in the first term. Triple M Simple Energy scoreboard. Let's get down to the big story on the bench. Jay-Z in the dock.
Yeah, fellas, a massive story down here. BJ Goddard's having some ice on his right knee. So it is a right knee issue, Doc. And that makes me wonder whether it could be an ACL.
Well, it's not looking good at the moment, Jay-Z. I think the docs were actually looking at the mechanism of his knee injury. We thought it might have been an ankle, but he came up looking real despondent. The look on the face is often the thing that gives it away. And he's iced the front of the knee. That's generally the area that you ice with a cruciate-type injury. But sorry, fellas, it was difficult to assess, but it looks like it's right knee out for the day.
No, spot on, Doc. Jay-Z, just quickly, there's been some discussion about his future in the game. I noticed you wrote about it as well this week, Brendan Goddard.
Yeah, he's without a contract for next season, fellas. I probably thought he was in good enough form to play on, if not at Essendon, then somewhere else. But if he is out for a year, you think this would likely be career over for the 33-year-old?
Well, fingers crossed none of that is what comes to pass, because he's been a wonderful player at 2 clubs. So we'll keep on that one as Heppel, who's kicked a goal. Beautiful ball inside 50. And the mark is taken.
So what happened to you, Judge? You did in the last game, was it?
Yep, last game. Yep.
Diagnosed straight away, knew straight away?
Knew straight away.
Yep.
Wave to the crowd as you're going off.
Go a little Queen wave, which the crowd appreciated, Duke.
It is.
Went off on the stretcher.
Now that we know him,
Yes.
that is true to But I think we were all up here a little surprised at the time
I
now.
reckon he planned it.
Langford was the marking forward. He should really convert from 40 with no angle. Kyle leans back. This is a nice game of footy so far on a Friday night. The Bombers respond with their third. Fantasia, Heppel and now Langford, Gresham and Loney are on the board for the Saints. Essendon lead at 3-2-20 to St Kilda at 2-1-13 on the Triple M Simply Energy scoreboard. Simply Energy powering up the AFL. Juddy, let's hope that's not the case with Brendan Goddard, but you immediately knew that you'd done your knee and that was the end of your career. What's the next 5, 10, 15 minutes like?
Oh, there's just a million thoughts going through your head. Where do you start? I mean, it was a mixture of feelings, one of relief to sadness to everything else, but it was, we hope that's not the case for Brendan, but he'll certainly be running a million different scenarios in his head, and no matter what the scale of the injury is, he'll have an element of doubt that that could be his last game of AFL football.
We hate speculating in this game, but I have to say, and we've got the doc down there, I looked at the replay, icing that part of the knee. There is no other logical explanation how. It's pure speculation.
Yeah.
That it would be a really sad ending if Brendan Goddard, that's the massive story here in Triple M footy, potentially done an ACL, and you'd think that would be the last we see of Brendan Goddard.
Fingers crossed, though. Remember Nick Revolt got carried off with that game. We thought he'd done his knee and he was all right, so fingers crossed.
Yep, good point, mate. Billings picks it up, hands it across to his teammate Sinclair at half-back, kicks down the wing, Rowan Marshall, who Brownie really likes, the big boy. Takes a good mark, pushed all the way up to the wing, City side. It's touched off the boot. It's gained about 40 metres down the line, and it's going to be a mark paid to Francis No off his hands and a boundary throw. And so in attack for the Saints, they trail it by 7 points, and we have played 20 minutes in the first quarter.
Ash, it feels like there's been a domination from Dyson Heppel through the middle in this first quarter. What are his numbers?
Yeah, no question. Number one ranked player, 7 disposals, 3 clearances and a major.
Ross, little left foot ball. He's got space. And he's found big Rowan Marshall.
Sorry. My apologies, Howie.
No, that's right. It's Rowan Marshall, and he can have a shot from 48 directly in front. Jay-Z, are you still writing, am I correct saying you co-write Brendan Goddard's article, Ghostwriter style?
Sorry, Howie, I just had something changed over. Say again, mate.
I'll get back to you after this shot for goal. Rowan Marshall, the 22-year-old, looking for his 5th career goal. From 50 out directly in front. Jeez, he's got a boot and a half on him. But it slid one to the left. Essendon 20, St Kilda 14. Do you ghostwrite Brendan Goddard's Sunday article, Jay-Z?
I do help him with that. He does do a lot of that himself, but I do give him some assistance, Howie.
Okay.
Fullback kick in from Hurley, hugging the boundary line, looking for Mitch Brown and Bagley involved off hands. And it's going to be thrown in about 60 out for the Saints. Goal, Howie?
So, Jay-Z, just further that, you obviously spend a little bit of time chatting with you. What's his state of mind about going forward prior to tonight's game?
Yeah, he was 100% keen to play on. He'd been in talks with Essendon, probably hadn't received a lot of positive indication there'd be a new deal, so I sort of thought that he would be considering or canvassing his options, potentially new clubs. Hopeful to play on at Essendon, but it did look like he might have to weigh up his options, but he certainly was keen to play on.
Yeah, he looks a pretty forlorn sight at the moment, Brendan Goddard, who just joined us on Triple M Footy. Concerns about his knee. Sard, I love it when he gets running. Sard, McDonald, Tim and Woody, love it when he gets going as well. Sard got laid out. He's down. Play on's the call. Orazio picks up, snaps, and misses. Punch on back in the centre. They're coming from everywhere here. Sard is down. He's been flattened. And about a dozen players, Carlisle and a few others, Jake Stringer in there as well. What'd you see in the Chemist Warehouse replay?
Huge bump, just checking the Chemist Warehouse replay. Brown from St Kilda.
Very late.
Has given him a bump after Sard's given off the handball, and contact started in the shoulder, but I think there was definitely some head contact later on, Browning.
And he had no awareness. It was almost like, was it Gian Siracusa and Cozzy? Years back, where the big fella didn't see it at all. So Sardi's still down.
Hasn't moved, Howie.
He's not well.
Is continuing. Now there's a mark taken.
He's out.
By a man that struggles to kick goals, Jack Billings. He can have a shot from 48 now. We'll get a break in play. What have we seen on the Triple M Chemist Warehouse replay, boys?
Well, he's lying down. He's got his hands up in the air. The trainers are calling for the stretcher at the moment. They're holding his neck. What was his body was quite limp because he'd given the handball off to the runner, and then I think he was just watching the runner. So he wasn't bracing for impact. He didn't see him come from the side, and it was a pretty nasty bump from Brown.
Problems for Brown?
Oh, there'd have to be.
Anytime someone gets head contact like that, it looks like he's knocked out. So, yeah, there's going to be some issues there.
Good positive for the Saints early. Young Pearce, first game since 2016. 7 disposals and 2 centre clearances so far.
It's almost like he was on the trajectory. No, he did actually attempt to run in and shepherd him.
It was just very late, Howie. The ball
Yeah.
was probably 10 metres away by the time that the contact was made. So that's why there'll be a good amount of trouble.
There's a bit of heat in the middle of the ground too. The Bomber fans and the Bombers have seen it on the big screen. Triple M Cbus Super Special comments. You got Chris Judd, Nathan Brown, Cbus Super with insurance to protect building and construction workers.
You've got Goddard down for the game.
Yeah.
You've got Sard. I would be very surprised if he's going to come back
20
on
minutes in.
today. So, and Saints have started this game pretty well. So it's sad to see, but it's very much game on.
Let's get down to Dr. Owen White. What can you tell us, Doc?
Yeah, Adam Sard with that knock. It was the double whammy. It was the hit to the head and then the hit to the ground because he actually hit the ground unconscious. He was face down. It was, look, a good 20, 30 seconds and the trainer was out there until we started seeing the movement. So that was a significant head knock and they're just protecting the neck, protecting the airway, and they're slowly getting the cervical, the neck collar on, and they'll put him on the spinal brace, get him on the cart and get him in the rooms. But big knock. He was unconscious when he hit the ground.
It's a 2-weeker at least, I would have thought. He's hit him in the head. I don't think he meant to hit him in the head. It was late, but he wasn't bracing for impact, as we see right here. It was just way too late. And I think he's going to have a bit of a holiday.
It's one of those things, if Sard sees him coming and
Would have
braces
been
for
okay.
it, it's a non-issue. We're not even talking about it.
But he
It's
elected
just
to
the
bump
fact
late.
that he was unsuspecting. He chose to bump when he didn't need to. That there'll be some questions to answer.
Almost looks like Nathan Brown at the end was almost so surprised that he didn't look up, that braced himself in the end. I would agree. I think he'll get a couple of weeks at least. Fascinating vision at the moment. Dr. Bruce Reid and Brendan Goddard, they are going through frame by frame, looking at the incident. We're concerned about him having maybe done his ACL, and you can imagine Brendan Goddard just wanting to go back and check that. So high drama here, Etihad Stadium. Real concerns about Brendan Goddard. Will this be his last ever game? Has he done an ACL? He's off. He's got his knee strapped, and then we've just seen a big hit on Sard. Adam Sard won't take any further part in this game. You can guarantee that he's getting carted off on a stretcher at the moment. So
Nathan Brown also would be feeling terrible at this moment. You come back to what happened with Gaff, and it's nowhere near as serious, but knowing you've got to play out 3.5 quarters with that in the back of your mind, and you know nowadays the media backlash that's coming your way.
Yeah, a bit different to Gaff, obviously, but this is where Damien Barrett was pushing the red card scenario really strongly. So I asked the question now, do we go to the third up, but no Adam Sard for the rest of the game? Do you take...
Not for mine, Duke. Only if it's a behind-the-play incident where you're completely behind it. It's completely black and white for mine.
Would you be a fan of a red card in that situation?
Very much so, but not in this situation.
Not in this situation.
For the Andrew Gaff situation, the Tom Bug, yep, I'm a fan, but any time it's anywhere near play, I don't think you can do it because there's too many things that need to be analysed.
Amidst all this, the mark was taken by Jack Billings. He can have a set shot, and he's had a long time to think about it. The applause is for Adam Sard, who is moving on the stretcher, which is good news. But Jack Billings, Das, has kicked 2 goals 7 this season, and he's had a great deal of time to think about this particular shot. And as we see Adam Sard go off on the motorised cart, our thoughts are with Adam.
Takes more model bounces than any other player in the comp, Sard.
He's got 2 hands in the air now, acknowledging the crowd, so there's a small bit of good news. But now Jack Billings with an opportunity to kick the Saints' 3rd goal. They trail by 7 points, but this has been a real problem for Jack Billings this season, Nate.
Certainly has.
2 goals 7. Let's see if he can put it through from 51 metres out. It wobbles its way through the middle. Good finish, Jack Billings, amidst boos from Essendon fans. A lot of drama. Essendon at 21, St Kilda at 20. For those just joining us, Jay-Z and the Doc, what have we missed down there?
BJ Goddard's night is over. Howie, he's on the bench and he has got ice around his right knee. So, look, we hope it's nothing severe, but we are questioning whether there is something wrong with his ACL. We certainly hope for not BJ Goddard's sake. And Adam Sard, as you just mentioned, he's also done for the night. So the Bombers down 2 on the bench. He is off with a concussion. You think Nathan Brown is set for a 2-match holiday at least.
Thank you, Jay-Z. Well surmised there for Bob Jane teammates, and this opens the door big time to an upset here tonight for the Saints. 2 down. They are right in the contest, only trailed by a point here in the first quarter. Picked up by Myers. Going to wobble this one to the edge of 50. Brown providing lead. Armitage back there. Armo Picked it up, immediately dumped in a stringer tackle. Spills to McDonald, Tipungwuti. 35 out. McDonald, Tipungwuti kicks the goal. Fourth goal of the quarter. Bombers hit back, and there's a bit of aggro in this game, Nate Brown. Bit of push and shove. There's a bit happening off the footy, but the Bombers hit back straight away. 4-3-27. The Saints 3-2-20. Triple M Simply Energy
Well,
scoreboard.
they all ran to Brown after that. It was a really good tackle out there on the outer side, and 2 players down. So the Bombers want to, with all their energy right now, they want to get a gap on the Saints, because you know the Saints are probably going to run out this game better. And Jake Stringer, the tackle was laid on Brown, who just put down Saad. Then they went to town on him on the ground as well. Then all the Bombers players ran back, and a little bit of push and shove, or it was Armitage actually. So
Emergency umpire out there at the moment, just telling Jake Carlisle to take it easy as the Bombers get stuck right into him.
The great tackle by Stringer.
It was. It's abbreviated Triple M.
Well, I just realised the game had started. I thought you might want to jump in with the commentary, so I kept it short and sharp.
That's all right, Judge.
Hasn't been renowned for his forward pressure over the years, but that was first rate there.
Okay. Collier caught in a tackle in the middle of Etihad Stadium. Chew, what are you impressed by in the Triple M Bosch Tools stat sheet?
Yeah, Zach Merritt fourth in the comp since round 12 in disposals at 32 per game. He's racked up 10.
Can he win a Brownlow one day, Chewy?
Yep.
Tipungwuti gets away from a tackler with his speed. Darcy Parish pushed off his kick. Just managed to hack it forward, but the Saints have got the numbers. Ross. And now a little clever ball. And this is a further opportunity now for the Saints through Sinclair to Jack Stephen. Breaks the tackle of Collier. That's 2 speedsters. Clever hand pass. He released Armitage, who's just missed to the near side. Good build up from the Saints, though. Nice game. Essendon 27, St Kilda 21. Triple M Simply Energy scoreboard. Simply Energy powering up the AFL.
He'll be genuinely disappointed with that, David Armitage. No pressure. Perfect side for a left footer. And missed it by a narrow margin. Francis, they rebound this very quickly from full-back. Out of wing. City sides Heppel. Lead provided and accepted by Fantasia. Free kick in the end, got a push in the back. Had to be against McKenzie. Still 2 kicks from home. Orazio. Love the way he always gets it moving quickly. Stringer's in good position. It's a beautiful kick. Made hard work of it, Jake, but got it on the second grab. And he'll go back and shoot from 45 metres out. Left forward flank. Tucked up on the boundary line, Brandon.
you mentioned that really nicely, the fact that he does get on his bike really quickly. And what it does, Dars, as you know, you've played forward yourself a bit, it makes you move. When Fantasia spun around in a 180 like he did then, you have to move. It's instinctive that he's moving, so you move, and it catches the defenders off guard a bit. It's a really good ploy.
7-9 from set shots. 2018 Jake Stringer. Been kicking pretty regular bags of 3 goals. Pretty awkward looking kick, that one. Right across the face, almost shinned it low, and he's kicked it out of bounds on the full. Missed a lot. So a 6-point lead to the Bombers. Minute 52 until quarter time. Triple M Simply Energy scoreboard.
Dyson Heppel, 9 disposals, 1 goal, 88% by foot.
It's on. Darcy Parish is not happy with something from Ben Long. There's push, there's shove, and there's a free kick for Francis. It's starting to get him involved now on the half-forward flank. And they've paid 50. The umpire didn't really have a choice. They're still pushing and shoving, and Francis's ball from 70 will now be a shot from 20.
And they say wider players give off cheap little pushes, and I guess that's why. We had Aaron Francis walk past Long and just gave him a little nudge. Long retaliated. Francis wins the free kick, and a brouhaha formed after that. Then we got a 50-metre penalty with Francis shooting at goal. So
I'm sure where the 50 came from, though.
I think Long arced up a little bit and got in a little bit of a rough and tumble.
I think it was just to the side of the brouhaha and the rough and tumble, and that's where the 50 came from.
The tussle.
Yeah.
The brouhaha. So Francis, the number 10, hasn't kicked a goal this season. He has now. Essendon, with the push and shove, they're kicking goals. 5-3-33, St Kilda 3-3-21. Game high 2-goal margin. A minute 27 to go on the clock in the first quarter. Get into Macca's for the mini share and footy, just $5.95 with any purchase.
Well, he created the spoil, Francis, then he got the free kick, then he got the 50 and he kicked the goal. I think he's a really promising player for Essendon. We know he had his troubles with fitness first and then some mental health stuff, but he's trimmed down, and I think he can be a really important player for that footy club for the next 10 years.
Nice.
Saints just need to settle here. Essendon have had a bit of a run on. We know the quarter's going to go for a while due to the knockout incident at Sard. They just need to settle here and steady the ship.
2-goal lead to the Bombers. Devon Smith won first possession, had the footy taken out of his arms momentarily by Jack Steele.
Not sure the emergency umpire still needs to be out there. The fight was 5 minutes ago.
There's no one there, is he? He's patrolling the wing.
It's like a guard dog.
Pretty happy to be out there, that man, isn't he?
Oh, Chubb security.
Bombers again trying to surge this one forward.
He's still on the ground.
Darcy Parish does that eventually, kicked it inside 50. McKenzie dropped the mark he probably should have taken. Now the Saints get it to Seb Ross. Game 100 for this talented player, and that kick was a good one to memory. He's had to push up on Dyson, on Michael Hurley, all the way up to half-back.
Memory. He's got it across half-back. Assesses his options with 48 seconds on the clock. The Bombers lead at 33-21. Big kick down the line. Francis again had a bit of the footy, gets away, quick hand pass. St Kilda have got the numbers around the footy, and it falls to Ross. Bangs the ball inside 50, good fist away in defence by McGrath. Spills to Geary though, further by hand. Jack Stephen round the corner, 35 has missed.
A bad miss.
To the far side it was. Essendon 3, St Kilda 3-4, an 11-point margin on the Triple M Simply Energy scoreboard. 20 seconds on the clock before the first break.
Oh, Hooker, an interesting fullback kick in, went short to Hurley, picked up by Jack Billings, runs the boundary, classy stuff. Billings kicks his second goal to corner. Well done, Jack Billings. And well done, the Saints. 4-4-28 they go to. The Bombers are 5-3-33 on the Triple M Simply Energy scoreboard.
You have to be looking at the clock, Judge, when you're doing this kick-out, big Carl Hooker, and think, oh, we're at 34 minutes. There couldn't be too long at the moment, and a risky 50-50 ball short to the boundary. I wish he had his time over again, because I reckon John Worsfold is going berserk at the moment.
I reckon that's what separates Essendon from a team like Hawthorn and the top 4 teams that are so well drilled. They've got the talent out there, but they still just make some poor decisions at the wrong time, and that was an example there from Hooker.
Yeah, Billings, number 1 ranked player on the ground, 10 disposals, 2 majors.
Nice work, Stu. There was 23 seconds on the clock when the Bombers brought the ball back in there by Hooker. Heppel, he's caught in the middle of Etihad Stadium. Dying seconds now. Can Collier get a ball in? He can, but the siren goes. So, just quickly, Jay-Z and the Doc. What happened? Brendan Goddard's in front of you.
Yeah, he's got ice on his right knee, talking to a physio now. We certainly hope it's not serious for Brendan Goddard, but his night is over. And Adam Sard knocked out in a heavy collision with Nathan Brown. His night is also over.
All right, nicely done, gentlemen, down there. Entertaining quarter, though. It was a long one with those incidents. Essendon 5-3-33. St Kilda 4-4-28. Billings has got 2 for the Saints. Essendon lead it by 5 points at quarter time. McDonald's, Triple M, rocks footy.